I'm Margaret in Windsor, and I'm showing this because I am from England. A friend of mine, when my son Mark, who's heir to the British Crown after me, was born in 1959. I'm putting this up and making it short. I'm not getting papers out or pictures or information out to back up what I'm saying, because I've been doing it for over 5 years on Facebook and YouTube. And it really boils down to I can't get an attorney. It's really one huge horrific mess if it's ever told or brought to court. The trouble is getting an attorney. Basically, here in this country, they don't want to take it, but they're afraid of it. Afraid they won't live the next day, I suppose, or anyway, I don't mean to rattle on. I showed that because I've been kept, besides the crimes committed against me and my sons, Mark and Scott, ongoing horrific crimes. It's a wonder we even walked away from the crimes. And I've tried to describe them the best I could, because my life has been a living hell trying to live, and I don't know where my children are, and haven't for some time now, if they're alive or dead, and I have to hope or I don't. What do you think makes people have the will to survive and go on? Most of it, number one, is their children. And I'm going to mention this again because this is what this is all about. My father's Edward VIII, who was married to Claudia Ruth O'Keefe Windsor. She was queen in 36 when my father was king, and he's legal heir now. Well, he's supposed to be deceased now. He was, when I was born in 1939, he was 45, my mom 40. If you go back in the pictures in my mom, they have really gone back and destroyed photos there. You can get photos of Georgia, her sister, artist Georgia O'Keeffe. My mom's from Wisconsin. And, but you can't get it. Well, I mean, it was so much because Georgia was real famous for her art. But my mom was a school teacher, and she married my father. My father's the soul of respectability, and look what they've done to him. I found out my name in 83, and I could remember being brought over. It made sense then. I'd never, I'd done a book and tried to get it published about mind control, and well, it turns out there's MK Ultra, and then you get into the people that kidnapped me, took my father down: Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers, Kennedy, JFK helped kidnap me, bring me to Moulton, Alabama, and they left me in what I call a dump site. So my life from age 2 was hell. And then my children, things happened to them that were so bad, and I couldn't understand why. It's such an ugly thing. It certainly needs to be told to the world. What's happened is my own uncle helped in my kidnapping, George, the illegal six, and the takedown of my father. And my father, first of all, I'm going to give this background on this one without laying out the pictures and all that. My father was forced out with character assassination. He was married to my mom. He never had anything to do with Wallis Simpson. She married a double, an imposter, in 37. In 1936, they had my father supposedly abdicating to marry Wallis. He was married to my mom. My God. And then there was an addendum. There was an attachment, because my father never meant to leave, that if he had an heir, it would not disinherit the heir. And it was legal. It went through channels, and it was legal. So the day I was born, I'm Victoria II, the legal heir. It seems I haven't gone out and gotten a DNA because the Brits told me, and you have to see the interaction here in this country from the Brits that came over to keep me alive, quite frankly. I told about Diana. People think Diana's this great humanitarian, and it's appalling to me that people can watch Elizabeth. I've got one pair of shoes now, and they were given to me by who sent this that I just showed. For Christmas. So I did get Christmas this year. Oh, so Elizabeth, I wonder how many pair of shoes she's bought with my money, because it is my money. It was my father's. It was all illegal. And you've got them over there today. You've got all this big deal about Meghan and Harry marrying, and it's all focused there. And I don't know if I will ever clear my father's name. I've put all this up, so there's no need reiterating. It's on YouTube and Facebook. The one thing it would do is, if it were also what's been done to us here in my father, in my country, the illegal treaties, I feel bad today. I really do. I'm 79 years old. I've been in this country being beat up since I was 2 years old. Beat up doesn't even cover it. But it would really, I think it needs to be told. I don't just think, but wonder if people would believe it then. It's so horrific. And you put it up against George, the illegal sex, his wife. They were part of the kidnapping, and I've put up pictures of that in '39 when they were with Roosevelt, the president. They were planning my kidnapping because George never intended to step down. He was put there by the Illuminati, your global government, because he would follow orders, their orders. My father refused, and that's what they did to him. They took him down, then they kidnapped me. And a double married Wallis and became the illegal Duke and Duchess of Windsor. I haven't gotten a blood test because, quite frankly, I can't afford one, a DNA. But the other is that the Brits told me, and they've been here. I look back in all my life, they saved my life more than how many times I don't know. They were on the Appalachian Trail with me when I lived out there on the trail. They were in Charlottesville. So, and they were in Huntsville. It would be something to show it, because with all this glitz and money being in press about illegals, they're fake. Monarch, they've stolen it. They're war criminals. And it's so appalling. It has to be told, I hope. But I've got, my two sons are heirs after me, Mark and Scott. And you've got us, well, I hope my children aren't living in poverty, but they did live in part. Their lives were horrible. And I didn't know the reason why, what was done to us. But until late 83, I ran in a political campaign. And I'm almost afraid to try, even though people around here know who I am, really, Margaret Ann Windsor. But it's scary because people, I've been told they just don't care. And they're afraid to get involved, or just don't care to get involved. And so I'm babbling right at the moment because I feel really bad. I'm watching just a bit of Harry and William, and everything's focused on William right now. He's supposed to be after Charles the King and all this, which they're all illegal, and they all know about me. Diana knew. She was friends of, oh God, don't let me forget the man's name, Kissinger, Henry Kissinger. He even, at where she was at a party in D.C. giving away gowns. Guess whose money paid for it? Mine did. Is paying for all this. It's not their money. Because she's illegal, she should be locked up. The whole bunch of them should. But anyway, Kissinger, if on the 18-minute and a half gap was played It was role playing, and I remembered it then. When I worked for the district attorney in Huntsville, Alabama, the Madison County DA Simpson, as in Wallace. So you get into a puzzle being put together. That was in 1980. And I could remember then Henry Kissinger and what happened, what was being done to me. And it's horrible. Now he's in this photo. I don't have it now. Picture. He had his arm around Diana up in D.C. at this party. They were her gowns that she were auctioning off and all this. That were celebrating it. And he said something to her that he thought she should be queen. Well, Henry Kissinger's way up in the global government, the Illuminati. He was Secretary of State, Defense under President Nixon. And when they subpoenaed the 18.5-minute tape that was supposed to be in the hearings, Watergate hearings, that had him ordering to be done I was laid out for it to be done. I mean, I really was. I came that close. If the Brits or my family didn't cross their palms with whatever ransom they were asking at that time. So it's ongoing. I remember one of the in that same article, I believe Henry Kissinger said that money and power were his aphrodisiac, meaning that he gets off on controlling people. He's a psychopath, for God's sake. So back to what I was just watching, and it really, I wonder how much they can flaunt it, They were talking about Harry's going to marry Meghan next month, May. And his best man now, they were going down the line eating and being, telling the new baby's name, maybe Jerry, maybe something. All the money and pomp and everybody loving them. They actually hate me. I wonder, part of the people do. They just wish I'd become invisible and go away. And, but anyway, they were going down the line eating, and I thought, my God, I have starved and frozen to stay alive, hoping this would all be told, because I want my father's name cleared, because they're making a mess out of bringing up Wallace and King Edward VIII when that's not my father. You should say Wallace the imposter, George, Elizabeth, etc., because that's in the Illuminati, which is very much in power right now. The United Nations is your front for your global government that helped kidnap me and have known all this time about me. Your Secretary of States have known. They've all known. Your press. So I guess I'll stop on this because it doesn't do me much good. If I had a DNA done, the Brits are the ones that told me. I know who I am. I've been told, and I have met one of my, about as close you can get. They let me see her when I first came here, and that was my mom. Briefly, I got to see her. She and my dad were still alive and married, and that was in 86 when I came to Roanoke. So my children are grandchildren of King Edward VIII, a man that had integrity and stood up to the Illuminati. And look what they've done to him. He didn't get to walk down the aisle with his daughter, me. He had to wonder if I was going to live to be raped the next day or killed. So excuse me if I watch those bunch of bums parading around like they're God himself when they're a bunch of low-life scumbags and the worst traitors in the world. So when Harry says that his best man is going to be his brother, William, the way it should be, my son, Mark, and then Scott, and you should have no William and Harry. It's the biggest ripoff and heist in history that changed history after then and allowed the global government to come into place, allowed the Americans to invade the UK and partner with the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, President Roosevelt, Jews. So where is everybody coming off? If you ever see what they all did to me and every step I've taken in my children, it's god awful. But people are over there, can't wait to go from this country, and they're calling Meghan their American princess. Well, they got the real Queen of England here in this country, kidnapped me, and all this mess. I pray to God every day that it'll be spread out and told, and everybody will be punished appropriately.